shortest body chasing the truth.
So I'm going to do a reaction video to Joe Rogan talking to Mike Glover about Randy Weaver, an ex-Green Beret who the FBI, corrupt FBI agents, murdered his wife, his newborn child, and his son. They pretty much made up a fake rumor that he was making silencers for weapons, and it was just all a lie. So let's watch the video.
You got Ruby Ridge, by the way, is seen as a success by the FBI,
which is crazy.
Which is fucking bananas.
Tell people if they don't know what Ruby Ridge was. Tell them the story behind it.
So Randy Weaver, a Green Beret from Vietnam, shacks up in rural Idaho, and he decides that he wants to have a life off-grid. And the FBI, doing an investigation with the ATF, finds out that he has some kind of gun issue. And
he didn't have a gun issue. They were accusing him of making silencers for weapons, which he wasn't doing. I don't know why he doesn't want to say it, but that's what was the issue.
They need to do an investigation, and they need to go on site. But this is almost, it's crazy because there's similarities with our situation. You find out the guy's background. Like if you're developing a target packet on a bad guy, you would want to know the guy's background, right? That's the first thing you do because you want to assess potential risk to force and you want to mitigate risk overall. What's his background? Green Beret, Vietnam. Oh, fuck, right? Then everybody gets all fucking crazy, right? They start going, oh, we need to find out more. So they do surveillance. They don't just do off-site surveillance. They don't do long-range surveillance. They get in ghillie suits and low crawl to his fucking cabin.
All right, for all you that doesn't know what a ghillie suit is whatever the environment is, the suit is the color of the environment, so you blend in. It's, camouflage. It could be color of leaves, could be the color of sand. Whatever the background is, that's what the ghillie suit color is. So let's put this in perspective a little bit. These corrupt FBI agents, they didn't have a warrant. They put on ghillie suits, and they crawled on this guy's property to his cabin. So let's go from there.
Right, in ghillie suits. His son and his dog are out on the property because it's his fucking property, and they discover these guys in ghillie suits. The son raises his rifle, shoots and kills one of the FBI guys, and the FBI guys kill his son. So what would you...
Think about that. The FBI doesn't identify themselves, doesn't pull out their badges, doesn't say, hey, we're FBI. They're on their property with ghillie suits on. The son sees them, shoots one of them, kills them. They open fire and kill his son. They have no right to be on the property. They have no warrant. They didn't identify themselves. These are corrupt FBI agents.
What you do if you own property in rural anywhere in America, you hear gunshots and your fucking son's dead and you don't know what's going on. And it's a bunch of dudes in ghillie suits. So he winds up locking himself and barricading himself in the cabin, and then they deploy the FBI hostage rescue team, HRT. I actually interviewed one of the guys that was he was in the sniper's sight as a sniper for FBI HRT when this went down. So long story short, they kill his wife as well, shoot his wife.
While she was holding a baby.
While she was holding a baby. They think, talking to one of the snipers, they thought that he was charging them.
Give me a break.
Into their position, but he was fake charging. He was making a gesture like he was charging.
Oh, wait. He was doing a stutter step, like a jab step, like in boxing. So the FBI decided to shoot his wife and shoot his son. Sorry, I thought they killed the newborn baby, but I guess they didn't. So let's get this straight. The FBI's excuse, this big tough guy, right, with all types of training, that has 20 of his boys with him with guns, his excuse for killing the guy's wife was he fake charged. He stutter stepped towards us. Maybe you should get a new profession like being a preschool teacher or something if you're that intimidated by a guy doing a stutter step. Give me a break. Just typical corruption at the highest level. Unfortunately, I've had to deal with some corrupt cops before, and I'm not saying all cops are corrupt, but I've known some corrupt cops at the municipality level. They were all alcoholics. They all had cocaine issues. They all had prostitute issues, meaning messing with girls in the street. They all had gambling issues. The majority of them beat up their wife and took steroids. So I could only imagine what corrupt FBI agents and what corrupt CIA agents must act like when they're more powerful than municipality cops. And again, I didn't say all cops were, were dirty or had no integrity, but there are some really terrible cops, and the ones that I known that were dirty and crooked, they had no integrity. They lied about everything. They'd send people off to jail for years at a time, railroad people, and they were committing every crime under the sun. So I can only imagine what a corrupt FBI agent must be like.
So they got panicky and they started breaking shots off at him. I don't know if they wounded him, maybe he wounded him, but he gets back inside, and so they dump the next person they saw, which happened to be the wife.
Oh, wonderful.
So
still didn't identify
they
themselves.
End up barricading.
So they kill his son, they kill his wife, they still don't identify themselves that they're FBI agents. So what would you think? Well, if guys in ghillie suits were surrounding your home, didn't identify themselves that they're law enforcement, wouldn't you be trying to defend yourself? I mean, let's put things in perspective.
The place even more, and his ex-commander is the one that basically does a call out and gets him to negotiate and then eventually gets him to surrender. So all this is said and done.
Wow, talk about doing everything backwards. So don't you think maybe you should have sent the FBI should have sent the commander to give him a call or knock on the door and say, hey, we need to have a serious talk? I mean, he's a Green Beret. They're used to taking orders. They take orders from people they don't like. They take orders and leave their feelings out of it. They leave their political views to the side and they take orders. So talk about doing everything backwards. The FBI kills the guy's son, kills his wife, wounds him, then finally they have his commander from the military call out. Shouldn't you have done that from the beginning? I mean, isn't this the FBI?
The FBI is found in the wrong. They sue the FBI. They win. It's an insanely controversial topic. But if you look at the FBI, two of the successes, I mean, there was guys who got awards from the FBI on that fucking mission. Like
even though it was proven that they were in the wrong.
Yeah, even though it's proven they were in the wrong. Like Waco is a good example of it as well. But this is what I'm talking about. Like there's a breakdown between organizations in the government and their powers that be, and likely a cascade, a tipping point of mistakes that cascaded into the catastrophe that it was. But that's the problem. I mean, we're seeing those things now. Like what I do with my business in a free society is none of your fucking business.
Exactly.
So if you are the director of the FBI and you know agents are probing into people's lives who happen to be veterans, happen to be minorities, like fit all your shit, and they're fucked up, those dudes need to be fired. And you need to make a statement to the public, letting them know, hey, we're not fucking around here. We don't want constitutional rights infringed upon. This guy was wrong to do that. And what happened on our end, nobody cares that we potentially lost our, but me and my marketing director, Rob, stayed up for 72 hours and built everything back from scratch. I had a guy, and I was teaching at Gritter Sports in Dallas, Texas, a couple days ago, teaching a pistol course. And one of the guys was wearing a Philcraft hat. And he goes, you know where this hat's from? I was like, my fucking website? Like, no. When you guys got shut down by Shopify, I bought a hat. And when I got shut down, we were losing everything. No revenue coming in, everything. The business was gone. I put on, hey, I'm selling hats through Venmo or through PayPal or Venmo. You could buy these hats. This will keep my company afloat. If you're interested in supporting the business until I get this unfucked, please help. $15,000 worth of hats in a couple hours. And one of these dudes bought these hats.
That's nice.
Do you know why the government shut Mike Glover's business down? I don't know Mike Glover. This is the first time I'm watching him. The reason why they're shutting his business down is because he's teaching American citizens who aren't in the military, who aren't in law enforcement, the best combat and technical training and how to survive, if the world, goes haywire. So the government doesn't want that. The government, they want absolute power, and they don't want American citizens to be able to defend themselves. They want them to be sheep. So anytime you have a government that doesn't honor the Constitution, you don't have law enforcement anymore. You have mercenaries. And mercenaries are the scum of the planet. They operate for money and power only. They don't hire for any moral ground. They don't work for, the Constitution binds people. The Constitution and the Bill of Rights, doesn't allow people just to do whatever they want. This isn't a communist country. So, you get your day in court, you get to speak the truth, you get to say your side, other people get to say their side. That's what the Constitution does. It gives you rights. And when you have government agencies like this that are just super corrupt, as the FBI agents that he's referring to, those are not agents, those are mercenaries.
But amazing support from our community. But that shouldn't be happening to Americans. And my story, we work through it. That's what good dudes do with good people. I got a great team. We just fucking work through it. We adapt, we improvise, we overcome these obstacles. But we've had to do it a lot. There's many cases and points where people's lives were ruined because of this. We're more resilient than that because we're a preparedness company. We're expected to be. But there's dudes who are fucking getting crushed and destroyed. Their lives getting destroyed.
Why would the government not want a preparedness company to teach American citizens in case something goes wrong? Let that sink in your brain for a minute.
Has Tim Kennedy experienced any similar kind of pushback with his sheepdog organization? Yeah.
Not as much with sheepdog.
But it's the same kind of thing.
The same kind of thing. It's funny because people always try to put us up against each other because they're like, oh, basically you're like a sheepdog response. Well, technically I started before Tim started sheepdog response.
Also, you're friends.
And we're fucking buddies. I would support sheepdog response in any way, and it's a great program here in your backyard, by the way. It's in Austin. It's based out of Austin. He gets it, but he gets it from all angles. I mean, they shit on him and Chad Robichaud when they saved all those Afghans and did the evacuation. I mean, they were shitting on those guys like, oh, you guys are bootlickers, you guys are rebels and cowboys. It's like there's always somebody to try to shit on. And we get it enough by people who are fucking dumb. We don't need the government to get their nose in it as well and screw things up, which they are. They're overreaching a lot.
I just can't understand why they would equate someone preparing for the worst case scenario and giving people tools to stay alive. I just don't understand how they...
Joe, yes you do. You do understand, Joe, because they're psychopaths and absolute power corrupts. So don't act like you don't know, Joe, because you're at a super high level. And you've dealt with these types of people in certain types of instances. You know the answer to why they don't want regular American citizens learning these techniques if everything goes haywire, because they don't want any resistance in case the American population has to defend itself. So don't act stupid, Joe. You're not dumb. I mean, you always claim you're not dumb, but you're pretending to be dumb right now. That's my opinion.
You could just shut down your Shopify, shut down all these things.
When I start there, this might be an example of how the mindset is. When I started my company, I had military guys go after me and say, why are you training civilians? Because a military guy from the soft community, they don't come out of the soft community and teach civilians typically. They teach law enforcement, military. And guys are like, why the fuck would you train a civilian?
For military people to be addressing him like this, those are the types of guys that don't believe in the Constitution. They're garbage human beings, because at the end of the day, if you live in America, we're all American citizens with the same rights, with the same protections from the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. So when you hear law enforcement talk like that, or military people, they're usually sadistic and they're usually corrupt, and they usually think that they're better than the population that they're put in charge of to take care of, and they have no honor and no integrity whatsoever. And again, not all cops are corrupt, but I've seen corrupt cops that have no integrity, like zero. They will lie, send people off to jail, railroad people. So, Mike Glover when he's approached by those types of dudes, he should just tell them, listen, get lost.
Like, there's nothing they need to know. Like, what do you mean? There's nothing you need to know. Like, well, you're teaching them all these advanced classified tactics. I'm like, dude, one, I'm not that cool. Two, I don't teach anybody any classified tactics. I teach them self-defense. I teach them situational awareness. I had a guy who goes, Mike, you guys are teaching people TCCC, Tactical Combat Casualty Care. And it's a course, right? You have to go through the course. Like, you shouldn't be teaching those guys that. They need to be EMT. They need to be paramedic. You could build a fucking Tesla.
Yeah.
You got...
Anybody watching this video, it should set alarms off in your head. Why so many military people and why government and police officers would have such an issue with Mike Glover teaching regular American citizens how to use their firearms the proper way and how to be prepared in case the worst case scenarios happen. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with a population that is trained, how to take care of themselves and how to defend themselves. And everybody that watches this video, it should really make you think.